want to switch gears to a fun segment before going into rapid fire questions, and it's
Ooh.
because you're a very opinionated Twitter follow of mine, and I just know that
Oh.
this segment wouldn't work well with other guests that I have on the show who are, maybe potentially a little bit more reserved. So I thought it'd be fun to do a
Yeah.
quick round of overrated, underrated, and you can kind of share your thoughts and
Ooh.
potentially why. So to start, using flowers on a dish, overrated, underrated.
Oh, overrated. Oh my God. In general, I'm not like this like super plating kind of person. I like to make my dishes look nice, but I don't want to eat flowers, even if they're edible flowers. I just don't want to eat them. I'm sorry, the tulip looks too nice. I don't want to bite its head off or whatever. Overrated. Overrated. Next
The
question.
the TikTok famous feta tomato pasta dish, overrated, underrated.
Well, that's actually kind of a hard one. I would like, it actually is tasty. I've done it myself. It is tasty. One tip for that, I would say it's overrated. Okay, it's overrated. But I'll give you one tip, everyone listening, is reserve some of your pasta water for that because they don't reserve their pasta water in that. And the sauce is like kind of like crumbly, it's like broken apart. Pasta water, make it much, much better. You got the starch, cream your sauce, keep your pasta water. If I see anyone throwing their pasta water down the sink, I flip
It's a crime.
out.
It's a crime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Natural food coloring agents. So I'm talking activated charcoal, spirulina, beet juice, those types of things to either boost the color of something or turn something the color of something that it's not technically. Overrated,
Yeah,
underrated.
I'd actually say underrated, really, because I still don't see them being that popular in common day usage, especially like spirulina and like beet juices, especially for pasta dough. It's fantastic. Like a beet pasta dough, it's so vibrant, it's so cool looking. Spirulina, it's just like, oh, definitely underrated. Definitely, you can't get the level of quality from the artificially ones, and plus you're getting a lot of weird stuff in those. So.
I know we touched on cookbooks, but in this age of being able to distribute your ideas in any sort of format, whether it's on a TikTok or on a YouTube channel or a podcast or whatever, writing a cookbook, overrated, underrated.
Um, I would say it's still underrated. There's a lot of value to putting your thoughts and your experience on paper. There's like a ton of value in that. And I think cookbooks themselves are overrated these days. But writing a cookbook, it really puts into your life experience where you're at, and where your skills are. And writing is always a great experience as well.
Chefs doing a tour working abroad, whether it's in South America or Europe or Asia or wherever, overrated or underrated.
Um, I would say underrated, but there is a caveat. If you're going to do that, you have to be sensitive to, you know, cultural food staples. And like, I don't want to get into political stuff and everything, and race and stuff. But if you're me, a white guy from Ireland, and you're going somewhere to South America, get in your lane and realize that you probably don't have the experience here, and learn, but be respectful. These are recipes that are handed down like like your possible family recipe, my family's recipes could be handed down hundreds of years. So underrated. You should do it if you get the opportunity, but be respectful and don't try to own it.
I think there's also these like other pseudo benefits that come from an experience like that, just from like the baseline of like leaving your comfort zone, right? Like if you grew up, I mean, like I grew
Absolutely.
up in a tiny town in the Midwest of the U.S. and just like leaving there was so, regardless of where I went, it didn't really matter. Like that
Mm,
decision actually was like the biggest value add from that moment of my life. And so
exactly.
but it's common to think that, I get the question all the time of like, oh, well, you worked in on the west coast of Norway. Like, do you cook Scandinavian food all the time? And it's like, no, actually not. Like, I take some things from there. I enjoyed my time, but I enjoyed my time there more. You know what I mean? I gained so much
That's
more
it.
experience there, and I don't feel like, but it's common to fall in the trap of feeling like, if you spend time in Japan, you have to do something Japanese as part of your food now, and it's just, I think
Yeah.
you and I are agreeing that's not the case.
Yeah, exactly. It's more about like what you can actually take back, and that could be like new techniques, Specifically thinking like the new Scandinavian style, foraging would be kind of a huge thing. You know, it's what you can bring back. You don't have to like cook Scandinavian food all the time. I'll just be perfectly honest. I don't cook Italian food all the time. So, you know, it's not even in my top 3 favorite cuisines actually. But
Sure.
yeah,
There's something meditative about just dough work in general. So I completely see
good.
where you're coming from there.